Hi there, James from Mayflower Accountancy. The other day I was thinking to myself, some of my best clients actually came to me from previous accountants. They changed accountant to come and join me, and I wondered why that was. And when I was thinking about it, generally speaking, people don't go into business and appoint an accountant and want to change and shop around like you would do, say, for gas or electric or utilities for your home. Generally speaking, you want to appoint an accountant, stick with them and have a long relationship with them for a number of years. No business owners come to me and said, James, I'm going to work with you for a year, get your set of accounts done, and I want to shop around. They don't want the hassle, don't want the stress, and no one's acted like that with me ever. So why do people shift accountant? And I thought about this, and I think there are three defining factors all surrounding, aligning what the business needs and what the business has to get from that accountant in terms of a service, whether it's just pure compliance or something a bit more advisory or a bit more of a partnership, versus the accountant and their value proposition and their way of working and their technical expertise. And generally, if those two things marry up, there's a really great relationship between the accountant and the client. But if some of them things can't quite sync up or there's some misalignment, then the relationships usually strain a bit, and that's where maybe business owners start to think about moving to different accountants, or accountants may disengage with business owners and part company. And here's a clue: I don't think it's to do with price. I think price is a symptom of these things. If there's a disagreement over price, it's because there's a fundamental disagreement over the service or the support, or what effectively the accountant is offering and what the business needs. That doesn't work out. So what I've done here is illustrated what I believe are three mistakes that are made in that stage where a business owner is looking to appoint an accountant, and this basically where they haven't got clarity on that alignment of these things, which would otherwise mean they'll have a great relationship with their accountant. So have a look. If you have an existing accountant already, then also look at this video, because it maybe could give you some thoughts as to if something maybe isn't aligned in your current relationship with your accountant, and maybe you need to rethink that and have a discussion with them and see if actually there's some things that need to change. So three mistakes that businesses make before appointing an accountant that you can avoid. The first mistake that typically people make when appointing an accountant is that they are not aligned in terms of the support requirements between the individual business and the accountant. And what do I mean by that? Well, as a company, a limited company for example, that limited company can take on many forms. A limited company, it's one consistent type of vehicle. But on one hand, you have companies that are simply a means to an end. So the director is a sole director, sole shareholder, and they're just basically using it as a way to get cash to their personal pockets. They're not trying to conquer the world. They just want to get the accounts done, know how much tax to pay, ideally not pay too much tax, and they just want a simple life, and that's absolutely fine. And on the other end of the spectrum, you've got hundreds of thousands of pounds of expenditure, tens of people on payroll, revenue of different product lines, management accounts, cash flow needs, all sorts of things, funding, financing, and it's the same limited company in terms of a vehicle, but completely different needs. And what you'll see with accountants is all of them, and we're guilty of that as well, say, offer a tailored service, a caring service, and that's true. And it's a cliche, and it's true because it is the thing that you do. You know one individual's the same, but the way an accountant works principally isn't usually tailored. Their whole mantra and philosophy and what they're about isn't tailored. We, for example, are very much about supporting businesses on their growth. Some of our proudest achievements, some of our best clients are those where we've actually handheld them all the way through and watched them grow and can point to evidence of where we've had a great partnership and seen them develop as well. Whereas other accountants are very happy to sort of speak to you once a year, take the bag of receipts, come up with your trial balance and set of accounts, get you to sign them off, file them off, thanks very much, see you in a year's time. And there's no right or wrong in that really, and there's very much a matched client to that. Some clients will be very much keen to get that support from their accountant. They'll want to speak to them, they'll want an advisor, they'll want to bounce ideas off of them, they'll want to help spot issues and spot opportunities and mitigate tax and really care about how their business is going to do. Others are just going to want to drop off that carrier bag or post the receipts to the accountant and just know that they're going to be done properly and not worry about it. And again, nothing wrong with that. But the two have to align, and what could end up happening is if they don't, is if you've got, for example, say a very forward-looking accountant that wants to kind of think about planning and how to grow businesses and works almost like a business partner with that business, they might find that a little bit of a fractious relationship builds with the client if they just want to hand over the bag of receipts. And equally, and arguably even worse, if you're running an ambitious business but your accountant is not really the kind of person that wants to check and say, how you doing? How's business? What's keeping you awake at night? Then that's where you're going to have problems, and for me, where you're going to get that crack grow into a bit of a chasm between what you want as an individual and a business versus what the accountant provides and what their level of service is and their attitudes to it. So very first thing I would do in your discovery call, or however you sort of start to discuss with an accountant, is just work out, you know, what's the way you work? How do you work? What do you do? And you know, how do you operate? And is that going to be a fit for me? And you know, you have to be mindful that, you know, some accountants will be yes people and just say, yep, it's fine, we'll do what you want. But really you have to sort of try and point to some values and evidence and testimonials and case studies even as to how they actually work with businesses. And there are accountants out there that do that. So that's my first mistake. Make sure you avoid going with an accountant that doesn't work with you and your business and how you kind of fit. That also, by the way, works as well for things like cloud technology, things like using Xero or QuickBooks or Receipt Bank, and those things that, you know, we, for example, will always encourage and champion. They might not be interested in that. You know, fortunately, most accountants aren't working from paper these days, but still some of them will work in their own computers and not have access to the cloud, and that might be again at odds with what you want for your business and some of the technology out there that can help you grow your business. So align the fit. Who's the right accountant for you? Are they going to be the one that supports you as someone that just wants to get the cash out and not worry about it, and the accountant's just something going to deal with? Or are you that business that wants to grow, take over the world, and you want someone that's going to sit with you and go, let's do it together and let's find the opportunities? So think about that. The second thing is sector, and the mistake here being made is that you don't go with an accountant who doesn't understand your sector. And let me give you a couple of examples here. We don't, for example, work with creatives. It's nothing personal. It's just that we feel that we wouldn't be able to give a creative the right service that they should have because we don't know the ins and outs off the back of our hand, all the various reliefs and tax issues and so on that count as a creative. Equally, we would be welcoming with all arms all construction tradespeople, because we're all over things like the construction industry scheme. We're all over the reverse VAT charge coming in 1st of March for the construction industry scheme people. We know about it, we live it, we breathe it, we read the legislation, we have clients we work with every day on it. So it's something where we're very comfortable with. So if anyone else came to us and said, you know, I run a trade or a construction, please come on in. We've got loads of other experiences and clients and knowledge we can share. And I think that's important. Some areas, some businesses don't really have a sector that needs that kind of care, but do your research. You know, do see maybe if it works, if you've got an e-commerce account, or if you've got a specialist that works with marine life or livery services or racing cars or whatever it might be. There are definitely niches out there and certain accounts who are specialists in working with you. And to that end, you shouldn't necessarily limit yourself in the box of, you know, who's a 10-mile drive from where you live. In 2021, one of the good things, I guess, that the coronavirus gave us was that it meant that home working and the ability to communicate with people quite freely from wherever in the world was reinforced. And, you know, with Zoom and technology and cloud accounting, you could have an account on the other side of the United Kingdom and still have a 99% comparable service to your local accountant that's 5 minutes walk down the road. So don't limit necessarily what you're looking for to your postcode, but go a bit beyond if you can find an accountant that maybe masters your sector, because it could save you a lot of time, it could save you a lot of money, it could save you a lot of tax. And again, that accountant's going to feel comfortable working with you because they're going to be doing something that they know very well. So that's my second thing to avoid. Make sure you don't go with an accountant that just doesn't understand your sector, and do a little bit of research before you make those phone calls. The last thing I want to talk about is service. And this is something where, as a client, as a business, you need to sit there and think, what do you actually need and what really is needed to run your business? Let me give you an example. Say you're like one of the chaps in the earlier mistake that I mentioned, who wants to hand over the carrier bag of receipts and get the year end done and be done with it. And you think you just need a set of accounts, correct? Well, actually you're going to need some bookkeeping. And you're going to need someone to look after those records. You need someone to maybe chase those records. You maybe need someone to raise invoices, put them in a system. So you will also do VAT returns, and that might need MTD. And again, that carrier bag of receipts is not alone going to put itself into a MTD compliant software and file those things off you, which is now the requirement for VAT registered businesses. So you have to sit there and think and understand what exactly is going to be needed to get what you want done. And the accountant also needs to be able to spot that for you and look at what the process is, how things work, what the system is, to make sure that you're getting the right service. It could be, for example, that you've got someone that will work and do the bookkeeping for you, or it could be that you'll do it on the weekends, or it could be that your husband or your wife will do it, or it could be you've got no inclination to do it and then you actually say, I need this done, and you want the accountant to do it. Then that accountant has to be prepared to do it, or point you to the direction of a bookkeeper that they know. But you need to be aware up front and comfortable that you've not missed anything off or underestimated services. Again, this is where things can become fractious, because if you, for example, underestimated what you need and the accountant's having to do all this work, then you're going to get surprise bills or a disgruntled accountant, or you're just going to be misaligned. And equally, if you're oversold something that you don't really need, then you're going to be paying through the roof for things that actually you don't want. If you don't want quarterly catch-ups, if you don't need that, if you don't need the check-ins to make sure things are okay, then why pay for them? You know, you want to get a service that fits your business and your lifestyle. So understanding what you need as a business in terms of products and services, and trying to think granularly about how to do it step by step as much as you can, and going into that conversation with an accountant with an idea of what you actually want, and then having them sort of comment on what's needed and agreeing or disagreeing with you and coming to an agreement there. Getting that sorted up front will mean there's no surprises down the line, no sort of underwhelming experiences with your accountant, no fractious relationships, and no surprise invoices, which is the things that are not good signs in what we do. So that's it. Those are my 3 things that really I think should drive your discovery calls of your accountant, that should underpin your decision making. And generally, as I say, speaking from experience, the best clients we've had, those ones that we really enjoy working with and talking to and helping every day, we got those things lined up straight away in our conversations and our calls, and we sort of continue to impress them, and they continue to feel appreciated, and they're also getting the services and support they need to grow their business. So it's a real win-win. And as I say, there are times where those things don't line up, and then we have to readjust and reshift. And it's not terminal. You can obviously have those conversations with your accountants and say, something just doesn't feel right, or I think I'm missing out on something, or this is too much. But then just have a frank conversation and either agree to part company or make a change. It's very possible to do that. But hopefully that helps. If you have any questions, just let me know, drop a like, comment, subscribe, all that business, and I'll try and do another of these soon.